Love to talk about your experience with pricing, your expertise, right? And also what you teach your clients about making money doing what they love.
Absolutely. Well, I have a lifestyle model when it comes for knowing your worth. Hi, I'm Koyawebb, and I help wellness entrepreneurs turn their passion into a profitable career.
Koya, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's talk about your journey with building your business and sharing your expertise with the world. I know how you initially got interested in health and wellness and what I guess set you on a path of pursuing that as your career, as your job.
I got started just doing what I love. And I highly suggest that to every person listening, like do the things that bring you joy. Now, I'm not saying everything that brings you joy is going to be your career, but it's a great way to start. And the reason I say that is because you want to make sure that whatever you choose and whatever eventually ends up rising to the top is something that you enjoy. There are so many ways out there to make a living and to have a career. And I truly believe that if it wasn't for me really diving in and figuring out what really brings me joy, what really lights me up, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So growing up, I would run to catch the bus to go to school every day. I lived in the country, so it was about 20 minutes to get to school every day. My mom had us eating apples and oranges. I'm vegan now, but then I was not. So we eat all the things. But even though we ate everything, my mom made sure we always had fruits and vegetables every single day. So I had like tidbits of health infused in my upbringing. And I always gravitated towards them. Like I loved fruit and I loved vegetables. What like some people never liked those things growing up, but I loved them. So then fast forward to high school and I'm deciding, okay, where I want to go to college and what I want to study. And so I did the shadowing. And I remember thinking, I just want to help people. I just love seeing people happy. And when people are sad, as an empath, I feel it. And so I wanted my occupation to be something that helped people because helping people brought me joy. And so I looked around and I looked at a physical therapist. I was like, oh, that would be fun, helping people, figure out their body. But then I shadowed a physical therapist and they were making good money, but not having enough time with their family. And then I shadowed what was a social worker, and the social worker had plenty of time with their family, but they weren't making what they want to make. So it wasn't until I interviewed a personal trainer who was like, oh yeah, I make the money that I want to make and I'm helping people and I love my career. So that's the first thing I did. I became a personal trainer.
Amazing.
And I loved it. It was just like, it was so awesome to just help people reach their goals. And then one day my client was like, I don't want to train. I just want to talk to you. And I realized that I love listening to people's stories and just leading them to their own answers. So I actually became a life coach. And then after becoming a life coach, I actually got my yoga teacher certification and I infused that into my life coaching. And then now as a thought leader, I share all that I've learned mentally, spiritually, and physically so that I can help people live an optimal lifestyle.
Did you have entrepreneurs around you growing up? Like when you think about kind of becoming a business owner, was it an example that was set for you, or was it quite a different path to go on to say, right, I'm gonna have a career where I work for myself?
I feel like that when I was in college, I ended up minoring in business administration because I felt like I wanted to work for myself. Because growing up, I was a waitress. I worked at Applebee's actually.
Amazing.
And I worked at this shoe place called Shoe Show. And I never was treated right. Like I was definitely experiencing microaggressions and didn't feel like I was supported in the workplace. And so I always felt like, I might need to learn a little business because I feel like I feel like I want my own company. So I'm good at taking direction and I'm good at following leadership, but I felt a lot of abuse in the workplace when I was growing up. So I kind of was like, I think I want to have my own company. So it's nothing I thought about initially, but it's something feeling that, okay, this is not a healthy place for me to be. I need to create my own place. That's something that I felt as I started getting into, before I became a personal trainer, I started feeling like, maybe I don't want to work for someone, but I think it just naturally became something that I gravitated towards because I wasn't being treated properly when I was working growing up.
What one thing is that you wish that you'd known when you first started out on your business journey?
I wish that I knew how much self-care I needed to be successful.
And what is one thing that you wish maybe you'd done sooner in your business?
I wish that I'd hired professionals sooner.
That was my answer too. Why do you do what you do? What's your why?
I love helping people live a healthy and active lifestyle.
And what would you say is the best thing about your job?
The best thing about my job is that right now I get to help people from the comfort of my home.
I'm sure you've had lots of advice over the years from coaches and mentors and the people who support you. Is there a piece of advice that stands out to you as having really helped you that you've received that's guided you in growing your business?
Never love others to the detriment of yourself.
So I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about how important it was for you to, I guess, find your focus, find your voice, decide what you would really stand for in wellness and how that became your core message.
I think it's really easy to look around you and focus on, those people around you and what they're doing. But it's more important to really focus on your gift and how you are meant to serve the world. So instead of focusing on those others, just focusing on being more of you. And so that's what I really focused on growing up. It's like, who am I? And so I really dived into what are my values? What do I believe? And so I feel like for anyone searching, you really have to find your purpose, because if you go out and look at everyone else and what are they doing and what's hitting and things like that, you might be successful, but that success might not bring you joy and happiness because it's not what you specifically were meant to do. I feel like once you really find what turns you on, what lights you up. In my book, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, I talk about creating a love bank for yourself. And in that love bank, you put all the things that bring you joy inside, and you're doing them on a regular basis. And then once you find out what lights you up, what brings you joy, then you go out looking for people who are successful doing that thing, because there's so many things in the world. And there's so many ways that you can make a career or make a living for yourself. And you want to make sure that however you decide to make a career and a living is something that actually brings you joy and something that you actually love doing.
So what were your values? What did you initially define as being your values that would eventually help you to build the successful brand that you have?
That's such a great question. Well, I love health and wellness. I love living a healthy and active lifestyle. I feel my best. I remember in high school, I got my first gray hair and I was super stressed out, and, I was living to high standard. I felt like I was never enough. Could never be good enough. And it was just so stressful. And so the more that I learned about health and wellness and balance, I felt better and better. And I actually start to heal myself just by being gentler on myself and realizing that as much as I love serving people and helping people feel happiness, I cannot love others to the detriment of myself. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn as an empath, in the fact that loving other people brings me joy. So I had to learn balance. And that's how my company Get Loved Up was birthed. Our motto is love yourself, love others, love the world, in that order. But it starts with self-love and self-care and filling your cup so that you have plenty to share and pour into others.
How long has it been since you first started working with clients one-to-one?
I started when I was 22. So it's been many years. I'll be 40 this year. And a lot of people think I'm so young. They think I'm in my...
You do not look 40, Koya. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm 39 now and I'll be 40 in July. And it's been a long journey. And I would just say, just start off small, because if you build a strong foundation, you will always build upon it. And there's no rush. If you try to rush, there can be and you might get there for a little while, but there's so many steps missed. And there's so many things that you learn into taking it a step at a time. So when you get to the mastermind, you have everything you need.
Love to talk about your experience with pricing, your expertise, right? And also what you teach your clients about making money doing what they love.
Absolutely. Well, I have a lifestyle model when it comes for knowing your worth. And with this lifestyle value model, you actually calculate how much it costs to live the lifestyle that you want to live. Because, if you are living in California, you're going to need to make a lot more money than if you're living in Tennessee. And so it just costs more. Everything costs more. The rent is higher. Things cost more. And so I really help people see the big picture, because it's really about it's being comfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, you don't feel safe and secure, you don't have a place where you can lay your head, it's going to affect your business. It's going to affect your teaching. It's going to affect everything. So first you have to decide, how much do I need in a year to be okay for my rent, for my food, for my basic necessities. And you get that number. And then you kind of go backwards and decide how much you need to make for a month, how much you need to make in a week, and then how much you need to make in an hour based on how many hours you want to work in a day. So I break it all the way down so that people have a personal connection with how much money. So that way, when they're telling someone, they're like, well, this is what I need to live. So, I mean, even if you give a discount, like, okay, if I give a discount here, then I'm going to have to make this up somewhere else to live the lifestyle that I want to live. And that really brings it home. A lot of people love that model, because it's not just like, okay, a pie in the sky. It's also not, okay, I need to make what Koya is making right now. It's like, okay, well, and then you stress yourself out trying to hit that number when you actually don't need that starting out. You can always build up, but when you're starting, know what you need to be good. Know what you need to be happy. Start there. And then every time you get a certification, work your way up. And that's what I did. I started, and I don't remember where I learned this model from or if I just made it up, but I know I've been doing it for the past 20 years. Is just saying, okay, how much do I want to make this year? How much do I need this year? And then I break it all the way down. And then every time you get another certification, which costs thousands of dollars to get, plant-based nutrition certification, personal trainer certification, yoga teacher certification. And when you get those extra certifications, you can actually charge more, because you're bringing more value to your client.
Let's get real with our audience. What have you found most challenging about being visible, about being an expert online?
So, oh my goodness, like I feel that the biggest challenges for me have been around just emotions, and really learning that my emotions are my best friend and they're showing me where I need to go. So in my book, I give all these tools that I've used. Like one of those tools is the chakra system. So learning your spiritual energy centers, learning when you don't feel safe and secure in a person, in a relationship. So it goes on both sides, personally and professionally, because your personal life, as much as people want to separate them, it does affect your professional life. And you might feel like you separate them, but they affect each other, and the professional life can affect your personal life. So being aware of how you feel and where you feel safe and secure, and then knowing how you express, knowing if you're standing in your power, knowing if you're giving and receiving love. So all of these energy centers have a purpose. And so I teach about those, because that can help us use our internal guidance and how we navigate our personal and professional relationships. Using that was one of the hardest things, because everyone doesn't know about our spiritual energy centers and our chakra centers. But once you learn about it, you feel invincible. Like you realize like, oh, okay, I'm getting this gut feeling. That means something. Let me pause here until I get a go. You learn how to listen to your intuition, because a lot of people ask me, like, how do I know the difference between my monkey mind and my intuition? It's like your intuition is that first voice. A lot of times people have a hard time making decisions, especially in business. And what I teach is that's when you need to get still. You need to get quiet, because people are telling you things online. Your parents might be telling you things. Your spouse might be telling you things. But when you can sit and have this place of stillness, you will receive what is coming to the top in your soul, in your mind. And that allows you to be what I call divinely guided to the path that's right for you, versus the path that everyone else is doing or that people think you should do. You have to do what's best for you. And no one knows that but you. So when you're able to get quiet, you're able to move in divine alignment with your unique and beautiful path.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us and for sharing your journey and for inspiring us and doing the work that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you soon.